Good morning. Today I'll be presenting on CASA, which is one of ICE 5.0's signature activation programs. I'd like to start off by acknowledging my co-authors, Hope Ishii and Jeff Gillis, who are the PIs of ICE 5.0, and our funding sources, NASA Survey and the National Science Foundation. I'd also like to acknowledge the American Geophysical Union, in particular the AGU Landing Academy, for their support in program development and evaluation. In a nutshell, CASA is a mini-grant program that incentivizes professional development. If you were at this conference last year, maybe you heard our talk on individual development plans, or IDPs. IDPs are personal action plans for career development. And our key conclusions from last year were that ICE 5.0 students and postdocs who developed IDPs reported a lot of benefits. But a lot of people opted out, basically because everybody's busy. So we really have the choice of either making them mandatory or incentivizing professional development. And we chose to incentivize. Basically, CASA are mini grants up to $3,000 to promote outreach, engagement, and other forms of professional development, all aimed at attracting and training the next generation of planetary explorer scientists. The objectives are to build self-efficacy, sense of belonging, and agency, because these have been linked to academic achievement, persistence, retention, and career success across disciplines and across grade levels, particularly in STEM fields. And each year, there are 2 calls for funding. So here's just some examples of projects that we funded. You can apply to conduct research, to go to a conference, to develop an outreach program. So long as the project is aimed at attracting and training the next generation of planetary explorer scientists, it's eligible. And you can interpret this in 2 ways. If you're a student or a postdoc, you could apply for your own professional development because you are the next generation of planetary explorer scientists. Or if you're a more senior professional, you can apply to train others or recruit others. Professional development is embedded throughout the CASA process, from writing the proposal to executing project activities to managing the budget and writing the final report. And optionally, you can serve as a peer reviewer. Anyone who is not submitting to that round of funding can be a peer reviewer. And a key part of the CASA process is responding to peer reviews. When we receive the proposals, we send them out to other people in ICE 5.0 to submit peer reviews, and then we put together a panel summary, which is a 2-paragraph summary, one outlining strengths and one outlining weaknesses or areas that need further clarification. This summary is sent to the project lead, and they have the opportunity to respond. And if they like, they can revise their proposal to respond to these peer reviews. And this greatly increases the quality of the final proposal and therefore the funding rate. In CASA, we have a very high funding rate. We fund the majority of proposals due to this unique 2-stage review process. So to date, we've completed 2 CASA funding cycles. CASA 3 is currently in progress. And between CASA 1 and CASA 2, 32 mini-grants were awarded to date. And when they submit the final report, we ask them to complete an evaluation survey, and 27 project leads completed the survey for a response rate of 84%. The evaluation survey has 2 sections. The first section has Likert scale items. These are all in the form of statements, and the project leads indicate their agreement or disagreement to each statement on a 5-point scale, ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And these survey items are designed to measure self-efficacy, meaning how knowledgeable or confident they feel, their sense of belonging, for example, how connected they feel to their colleagues, and agency for future actions. And then we have a section of open-ended questions. These are 4 questions. One asks them to report something they liked about the CASA mini grant program, something they learned, a suggestion they have for program improvement, and then there's an open-ended space for anything else they might wish to share. I think our 2 key limitations are the small sample size and the fact that it's self-reported data. So here are some sample survey results regarding self-efficacy. So all of these statements start off, compared to how I felt before I applied for my first CASA mini grant, I now feel more knowledgeable, confident in justifying the importance of a project, etc. And for each of these survey items, the respondent indicates their agreement or disagreement on a scale of 1 to 5. We compute the mean, and we also compute the percentage agree, which are the percentage of respondents who either indicated they agree or they strongly agree. And what I thought was really interesting about these data is even when we asked them questions that were not related to their CASA projects, for example, asking them to report on whether they feel more knowledgeable and confident in their writing abilities in general or their scientific abilities in general, the responses were still fairly high, approximately a mean of about agree, with the majority either indicate, with about 2/3 of the respondents either indicating they agree or strongly agree with this. So I thought that was really encouraging. So to summarize these results, on a scale from 1 negative to 5 positive, the mean responses for self-efficacy ranged from 3.9 to 4.4. So agree to strongly agree. The same sense of belonging, 3.9 to 4.6. And they were even higher for agency. People reporting on their likelihood to engage in future actions like applying for a larger grant. For open-ended comments, here are some sample representative responses for one thing they liked and one thing they learned from being a CASA project lead. And I thought this was interesting because these grants are very small. I mean, $3,000. So let's say you need a few $1,000s to go to a conference. Many people can just ask their PI for the funding. But the value that a lot of people reported in getting their own grant was being the PI, being in charge of communication, having the confidence to get their own funding, as well as exploring their own ideas and building collaborations. They learned that the budget needs to be more well thought out, the importance of dissemination. They gained soft skills, and they learned new ways to engage students in and outside the lab. And they found that student success takes many forms. So to conclude, incentives matter if we want students and postdocs to prioritize their professional development. We need to incentivize it with short-term tangible incentives. The pilot results indicate strong gains in self-efficacy, sense of belonging, and agency, although we do note these are self-reported results. And the quantitative results align with quantitative results. So for more information, please visit our CASA website, where the CASA 1 and CASA 2 projects are uploaded, and the CASA 3 projects will be uploaded at the end of the summer, or please feel free to email me. Thank you.